Welcome to the West Coast Climate Action Network's Lunch and Learn webinar with Slade Williams, energy champion for the Sqwa First Nation in the Stolo territory near Chilliwack, who will be telling us about his work to bring sustainable energy to his people. We're honored to be able to make this happen. WeCan is an active and growing volunteer-run network of 285 climate action groups across British Columbia, all of which share our feeling of deep urgency and the reality of the climate crisis. Our determined hope is that together we can make a difference and build a better world. I'm Guy Dauncey, one of the founders of the West Coast Climate Action Network, been working in the realm of climate solutions for some 25 years. Today I'm ably assisted by Catherine Muss. I want to acknowledge that I live personally on the unceded traditional land of the Squamish First Nation, and collectively we all live on land owned, loved, cared for by BC's First Nations for 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 years in some cases. And my understanding of the process of what happened has been so much informed recently by this book, Unceded, by George Abbott, who was actually a minister, a conservative minister of Indigenous Affairs in British Columbia for a while. And I recommend it for everyone to understand the process going back to the 1860s of how reserves were created and not created in British Columbia, how all the white settlers did their utmost to almost do nothing. Once they'd chosen the land they wanted for themselves, then they said, well, what's left over we can give to the First Nations. It's a very painful history. It's a very valuable read. It's a very important understanding for all of us to extend our knowledge of what went on the land before we came. So one of the things we do in the Indigenous engagement team of WeCan is we invite people who are First Nations leaders, who are doing exemplary things to bring climate solutions to the table. And today I'm honored to introduce Slade Williams. Slade is a member of the Stolo Nation. He grew up in Chilliwack within the Sqwa community. He's enjoyed canoe racing since he was 9, and he also expresses his passion for his community through songs and storytelling. But no pressure, Slade. I'm not necessarily asking you to sing today, right? He currently works with energy peers in Indigenous communities and is a contributor to Indigenous Clean Energy. His mission is to help Indigenous communities gain a deeper understanding of the importance of clean energy and to support them throughout the process of empowerment and creating opportunities. Slade, the floor is yours. If you unmute yourself, it's all go.
Hi. Like I said, my name is Slade Williams. I grew up in Chilliwack here in the Sqwa First Nations. I was hired here. Previously, I worked in construction, and then later, before I came here, I started working on a waste management truck. So it's quite physical work. So I was looking to move away from that and like sort of like work behind a desk. And so my boss seeked me out. She found this funding with the Fraser Basin Council, and it was the name of it was the EPIC program. So it's Energy Peers in Indigenous Communities. So this began my work in climate resilience, climate adaptation. I went on to take a course with Royal Roads University, climate adaptation. Um, and the focus of that was using indigenous knowledge to help with climate change and adjust to the changes that we all face every day. So the EPIC program supported us, and the one of the main focuses was to create a community energy plan for our community, which we completed last year. We finished it started with a draft, and then right now it's a live document that our governance here at Sqwa has adopted, and it's in a way of making better choices, adapting with climate change, and and they provided us with a consultant, and we worked on the feasibility studies for that document, and we had a lot of studies done so that, and the biggest was find this biggest solution was to create our own generate our own energy through solar. And so our chief and council, and I work within the lands department here at Sqwa, and so we a lot of it is the newest additions in our work to is sustainability. And so our chief of council was really excited. And at that time there was a 75% rebate on $100,000. So basically we pay what, 25,000 out of 100,000. Um, and I believe that BC Hydro was flooded with applications, and a lot of the solar companies were, I don't think it was really clear what it was for. My understanding was that it was for community buildings within indigenous governance or indigenous communities. It wasn't the purpose wasn't, from what I understood, wasn't for residential, which solar companies was misleading. And so BC Hydro was flooded with a lot of applications that were not valid. And so they tabled that, and later they recalled it. So
These were
our
applications. These were applications for solar energy installations, Slade, right? Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And for residents, I think my understanding was for residents, it was 5,000 for battery, 5,000 for solar,
Yeah, I recall.
for
That's how I.
residential.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I recall it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we our community members, our residents here, they were they were fairly annoyed that they had two or three different companies walking through our neighborhood, telling them that there was a 75% rebate, which was not true.
Mm.
So we were lucky that a couple of them come and knock it at our administration door and says, "Is it okay if we go around to the residents here and offer solar?" And so we did, and we made it clear to the band members, to the residents here, that the correct amount was 5,000.
Yeah.
And so
How many residents do you have in the Squa community, Slade? How many
we
homes?
have, believe 67 homes here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think about 16 or 17 of those are band owned homes. So
Okay.
others are private owners.
Okay.
So
Cool. Yeah.
um, really a private owner, it's if it's in his will that he wishes to get solar on his home, he could do that without the band's permission.
Hmm.
And with the band-owned homes, we can, if we wanted, we can put a solar on every one of those homes without their permission.
Be kind of weird though, wouldn't it?
We are working on a newer development, and it's called community solar. So
Mhm.
it's funding to build a lot of solar, which it would pay for every member's
Yeah.
energy bill.
Yeah.
So that's the newest development, the most exciting thing that we have. And so we
Is-
worked with consultant group, Barclay Project Group.
Yeah. Is this a good moment for you to show the photo of what you assembled?
Sure.
Okay, then people can get a sense of it physically on the ground, right? Do you want to talk us through these are band-owned buildings, I presume, right?
Yes, the larger one is the community center. and the one to the left is our administration building,
Yeah.
and
So when I look at the community building, it's clear that you
mhm.
have space for a lot more solar. Did
Oh yeah.
you choose to just meet your actual energy needs as opposed to putting more solar on that you could then export back into the grid? Did you have that
Yes.
discussion?
Well, we felt that credits aren't going to do us a lot. Like if we got 50,000 in credits is not going to do us much because of we figured that we'd build just enough solar to pay our own bills
There you go. Right.
and so because I don't know whether in agreement that there doesn't seem to be any cash exchange, so it's basically credit. So
Yeah.
we're not going to do any good with $5 million in credit in the next 5 years or something like that because it's not going to do anything. We're basically giving the power away, so we just figured we'd make enough
Yeah.
to sustain us.
But I think they're paying 10 cents a kilowatt hour now. They just reduced the
Mhm.
amount that it was,
Okay.
which is less than what it costs, but there is some small trickle income. But how that compares to the cost of that.
Yeah.
What do your numbers look like? What did you have to lay out financially with the grant you got?
Okay. Well, like I said, that the 75% rebate was recalled and our band was prepared to build it, and have the money turn around through solar energy. So, and that before we were continually applying for funding, and the next funding was the BC ICEI, so BC um, and I get lost.
Indigenous Energy Initiative, I'm guessing.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So it took me a
Acronyms, all
while
these letters, right?
it took me a while to learn that, and then it's just like it's money. That's all I thought. And what we did use for the feasibility studies was the CEBF, so Clean Energy Business Fund. That's what's helped
Okay.
us to build our community energy plan.
Yeah,
And prior to my work here, they were working on a community comprehensive plan.
yeah,
So the community energy plan falls within that, the sustainability part. So we're kind of like checking boxes and we're like, hey,
yeah,
we built this plan and we don't want it to go to waste basically. So we're
yeah.
gonna do some things that we said we're gonna do on it.
So when you do a thing like this, tell us how do you have to go to band council with a motion and get a majority of the band council approving it?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't need a referendum with all the
Yes.
members of the.
Well, I used a consultant to build the application for it.
Okay.
And then because of the deadline and because like we can't wait, like
Mm.
okay, they're gonna meet next month and between now and then we're gonna have the application is due. So we would send the application in and they would say, well, we need a BCR, so we'd get a BCR in the meantime, which
Yeah.
which they were okay with as long as, we just were focused on getting the application in on time. And
So how long did it take you from when you first said we're going to do this to the system being on the roof? How long are we talking?
I think within the first year, because at that time I started here in 2023, August 2023.
Yeah.
So like within that year, I was getting proposals
Yeah.
because the request was to have three that we can choose from.
Right.
And the consultant chose the best, the best thing for us. It wasn't
Yeah.
about how cheap it was. It was about the
Yeah.
quality of the work and the quality of the material.
And what was the name of the company that came and did it with you?
Just Power has been on board with us since the
Okay.
get-go.
Yeah.
And we had, I think, Aurora and I think there was actually five proposals that we had.
Yeah. And with the one that did the work, did they engage some of your younger people in learning how to do this and get familiar with the whole thing, or did they just bring in outside workers and do it and go away again?
Yeah, they were prepared to, and I think it was we didn't want to slow down the process, so we just allowed them to
Yeah,
and allowed them like the capacity building part. They were
yeah,
willing to participate in that. They were willing to help
yeah.
train and so we just thought that it we didn't want to slow the process down because it was like there was so much process.
Hmm.
Another part of the BCICEI was we applied for the full 300,000 and half of that was the solar and the other half was the demand side management like retrofits
Yeah.
so they because of the high demand, the large amount of applications they had, they wanted to kind of spread their threshold. So they offered us half, which we were happy with, and the half that they offered was for the solar. So
So the
we
retrofits didn't happen or haven't happened yet?
with the CEBF we had energy evaluations
Yeah.
on 29 homes.
Okay.
So we have about half, I guess,
Yeah.
just under half.
I mean, obviously, if a house is using inefficient appliances and leaking
Yeah.
energy through old baseboard heaters, you've got to put twice as much solar
Yes.
to pay for all the leak. You're really throwing solar energy out through the holes in the wall.
Yeah.
So if the house is twice as efficient, the solar goes twice as far for its electrical needs.
Yes. And
Yeah.
some of these homes are like built in the 70s and even the 60s.
Yeah.
So like a lot of these homes are way outdated and they need a lot of work and
So single pane windows and very minimal insulation and stuff like that. How are your homes heated mostly in Sqwa?
mostly baseboard. I think there's two homes that are on still on oil.
Yeah. So do you have a plan going forward to do the building retrofits and maybe get heat pumps in instead of the baseboards and get decent um
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, we applied for another funding through New Relationship Trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I can't think of the name
Hmm.
right now.
A question just popped up in the chat. Could you repeat how many homes are involved and how many were band owned?
There's 67 homes, and I think 17 of them are band-owned homes. So the rest are privately owned
Yeah.
homes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Thank,
I'm privately owned is unusual on a reserve, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
we call it um, CP home. So that's just they have their own certificate of possession
Okay.
for the
Right.
land. So most of the land on our reserve is CP land. So the
So the land
band,
is community owned by the
yes.
reserve. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, right. Yeah. So what are your plans for what's your dream, Slade, for the whole community?
Well, I was talking a bit about the community solar that we're looking to apply for that funding
Yeah.
is to supply every home with the power without cost to them.
Hmm.
And we're working on where to place a 2 megawatt solar solar farm.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we're looking, that's where we are at this point. It's a matter of finding the place for it and then financing will
Yeah.
come.
If you provided electricity without cost, do you worry that people might have the baseboard heater on and the window open because they don't really care? It doesn't matter.
Well, I think the chief and council was actually because like I said, I've been moving faster than the cut than with the I mean the approval, if they don't approve of me the funding application and then they're that obviously they're not going to give us the money. but they
Yeah.
approve of the applications that go in. And but recently they've been wanting to be more updated because I basically work on my own. I work under the lands department, but I do a lot of I do a lot of my own work, and so my position is community energy champion. So I do all of that
Yeah.
work, like I wouldn't say on my own, but
Yeah.
I don't have to,
Have you,
with the support of my boss, of
yeah,
course.
would it be more funny if there are some younger men or women who might come under your wing and you could be their mentor to pass on your enthusiasm and your skills, make it more
Oh,
fun for
for
you?
sure. And that's exactly why I began um I began getting closer to ICA, so Indigenous Climate Action, because
Yes.
they had a youth component. And I
Yeah.
think that's the only way that this work will continue is
Yeah.
if the youth kind of pick up the
Yeah.
torch
Yeah.
after, and I can get more done if I got more people working
There you
with
go.
me.
So I think Roger's got a question. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, Roger.
Hello, Slade. Roger Bryanton. An energy and climate nerd.
yeah.
And I'm wondering if your 2 megawatt solar farm would include batteries. And would you also include upgrading the buildings if you went to that large of a solar system? Thank you.
Yes, that and part of that funding, the funding that we applied for was to get more insulation on some homes, and it was, I think it was 13 heat pumps. So the Energuide provided us with where we needed to update say the insulation
Yeah. Yeah.
or the windows or the doors or wherever they were losing their heat
Yeah.
or cold air.
So the federal BC has just joined a federal greener homes program targeting
Mhm.
low-income families to do exactly that kind of thing, a retrofitting.
Yeah,
When Roger was telling me yesterday that the details are not through yet, if I'm right, Roger.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that. I heard of that. That we also were creating a better understanding with the peer program.
Yeah.
And there's another, I think that's the one you're talking about. I don't have my book with me
Yeah.
right now, but
Yeah. Okay.
we are looking, and the chief of council wanted all homes done. And
Yeah.
which is funny because, like I said, these are private owners, so they're like, I built this house myself. There's nothing wrong with this house. And it could be true, but
Yeah.
everything that he's built it with, like, and we plan on to we've sort of like not officially, but we've adopted the BC building code.
Yeah.
So we are working on adding the step code to our new
Cool.
builds, and so
We'll come back to that in a second.
yeah,
Tara, go ahead.
yeah.
Yes, Judith had a question. Judith, do you want to unmute yourself?
Sure, thanks. Thanks for all this info, Slate. It's really
Mhm.
super interesting. I just wanted to check. I think what I heard here is most homes are on electric baseboards heat,
Yeah.
and you have just clarified that the funding you applied for it was to possibly provide retrofits.
Yes, we are planning to. Um, I think I think with the privately owned homes, we are encouraging them to do so, and if they need the help, I'm here to help them through the process. And we do we've got proposals from we got quotes from Greenfoot. I
Yeah,
don't know if you've heard of Greenfoot.
yeah, I have.
Judith, do you have
So
experiences to share? I somehow think you'll
Yeah, I
yes,
do.
go
any
ahead.
questions that you have, please feel free.
Yeah.
I
Well,
do
I
have.
have solar on my house here in North Vancouver, installed in
Mhm.
2019. And I just highly promote the installation of solar. I think it's really a brilliant idea. You know, we got lots of sun. There's wind available, and I'm very glad that you folks are and have already pursued this. And I hope that, you know, the program there that Guy mentioned, the recent government announcement of helping you know, lower income folks, if you folks can take advantage of that, you know, get first in line, even if the details aren't all out, just apply as soon as there's a link there, right? Because we all know money runs out, and we want the folks who need it to get it.
Yeah.
Well, everybody needs it, but I mean the folks who can't, you know, fund it themselves, right? So kudos to you for getting all this going, and good.
Thanks, Judith. Jerry, you got a question?
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring what you're doing. I've been working on trying to get things done, climate solutions, for about the last 19, 20 years myself. And I'm wondering about new battery technology. I know it's changing pretty quick and there's some new stuff coming out. Are you going to be able to take advantage of that? I know that some of the new batteries look like they're able to be a lot cheaper. So, and of course, be more functional. What kind of system are you using currently?
We don't have any battery power. I'm actually kind of studying. I know that it was a recent request that because we have like a warming and cooling center, so for the winter and the summer, so that people have a comfortable place to be when it's cold or when it's hot. And so I think that it was suggested that we have battery power. Now it's been in my interest to add battery power to most of the buildings here, because you know it's like I said, even if we do store battery power, and BC Hydro wishes to use that power and purchase it from us, that gives us that option too.
Yeah.
And so I got quotes for our emergency operations center. And so like we are subject to flooding here because we're only about a kilometer from the river. So we have an emergency operations center, and we have an emergency coordinator. We have food security, and our health team manages a lot of different, say, stresses or different concerns that people have also. So we have a social development team, we have a health team, we have food security, emergency operations center, and we also have a college here for people to come, and it's open to.
And let me just throw in a thought. I mean, the average suburban street is 70 homes, right?
Yeah.
You've got 70 homes, and you're doing all this organizing among yourselves together to be more resilient and look after yourself. I mean, really, in the context of most people living on a street and assuming, oh, the local government will do that for us. It's amazing. That degree of engagement with making a better world for yourselves is fantastic, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you played the video of the CBC.
Let's do that. Catherine, do you want to set up that video? Or whilst Catherine's setting it up, Doug, do you have a question?
That's in the chat, right?
It's in the chat, yes. If you want to set it up,
I'll get it.
Mute yourself first. Oh, there you go. Right. Doug, go ahead, Doug.
When I hear people talk of integrating battery into utility, the grid or their community systems, I strongly push you to consider electric vehicle batteries. It's a little early. They haven't come up with the standards that allow us to do the bidirectional charging and V2G consistently everywhere yet, but it is there and it is happening. But you're going to be paying $10,000, $20,000 for a battery system for a house, where you could put that $10,000 to $20,000 into an electric vehicle. And the electric vehicle tends to be sitting 90% of the time. So while the battery's not being used to drive you, you can use it with your system. And then there's less environmental damage because you now have one battery. You don't have two batteries. And with electric vehicles, they tend to be 60 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts, where your home system is 10 kilowatts. So you have that much more storage, that many more days that you can maintain your house if you do the electric vehicle approach. Something to consider.
Yeah, and we do wish, like, part of our lowering emissions in our plan is we installed a EV chargers to our administration building.
Mm.
So we have we purchased a Ford Lightning that we use for our lands department. I mean, it's open for most departments here, but we did install a EV charger to encourage our employees and others, and showing our members that, you know, it's important to us to lower emissions. So we used a rebate also for that, for our EV charger.
So Doug, is BC Hydro ready with the standards and protocols for EV battery use tied to the house? Yeah, I see
There
from your
are
expression that's so right.
there are situations where you can do it now, but it's limited. And the United Nations are working with the EU to develop protocols and standards there. Because of China's influence in the market, what China's doing is going to dominate a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I saw it when I started driving electric vehicles in 2009. It was about 2011 when the J-plug standard, the level 2 standard, came in place. And it was months later, we had charging stations from coast to coast. So once you get the standard in place, then everybody's willing to go there. And we're that close that the standards are in place. But what we need to do is push BC Hydro. So BC Hydro feels the pressure that they have to do it sooner rather than later with the standards.
So Doug, you're one of the pioneers of electric vehicle driving in BC if you started in 2009, right?
It was a gas pickup truck that a high school mechanics class converted for us.
Wow.
Thanks to my partner.
That's great. Catherine, do you have the video ready to share?
Yeah, the video's ready. Are you ready for me to share it?
Let's do it, yeah.
Okay.
These black squares represent every solar panel and the sort of pattern that they are on the roofs.
Sqwa First Nation has recently mounted solar arrays on its community hall, its admin building, and on its preschool. The 3-year project is an effort to reduce the nation's carbon footprint, and Slade Williams wants others in the region to follow suit.
We want to show others in the Fraser Valley, in the Stalo territory, that this is the way to be.
Williams uses this app to track the power generated by the new solar arrays.
And it also shows how much carbon CO2 reduction that's happening. The amount of power that we use will be offset with the amount of power that we generate. It makes it all that much worth more doing. You could see how much power that we're creating, and then how much, you know, how easy it is later in our bills. It's going to reflect.
BC Hydro says a rebate program for solar panels in Indigenous communities was so popular, it was paused in late 2024.
We received hundreds of applications in the first 6 months from nations all across the province. And because of that high demand, the Indigenous offer is currently paused, just while we work on reintroducing an updated version.
Sqwa Nation is on the grid, but many remote communities are still reliant on diesel, a fuel an energy expert says can be difficult to transition from.
It's quite a remarkable energy source, but it can be very expensive, and it can be dirty and also noisy. And so there's always a desire to reduce dependence on diesel. But again, having all those qualities in another energy source has been difficult to find.
Williams says the cost is often the biggest hurdle to pivoting from diesel.
I think some of the barriers might be is having them financed. And I think that finding the right fit for each community because it's going to be different for everybody.
Williams says this project aligns with his community's ancestral ways to make the best impression on the environment and for his people. Keir Juneau, CBC News at Sqwa First Nation.
Wow, that's gives us a good sense of it. What's your when you see that video from a couple of months ago, what's your response, Slade? What do you feel?
I think I think it's pretty cool. I'm not a very shy person, and I am collected, so I can like sit back and listen. But if I have something that I have to say, I'll say it.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
I think that my wife was asking me, "Are you nervous or are you shy?" And I said, I just want to say the right thing, and I want the right message to be passed on. And thank you for playing that. I love seeing it, and I can watch it over and over. There is another one. I don't know if it worked. It was done by Just Power, and that one was on Instagram, and I don't know
Yeah.
how to share that one.
Okay.
Um,
Well, let's go ahead. Roger, you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, very interested in the battery side of things that was being discussed there, and I've looked at that as well. I've had Prius, which is hybrid, but if it's any comparison, if there's a way to get the batteries from not from the dealer but from somebody that's reconditioning them, they cost about a quarter to a third as to what you would pay at the dealer. So you can go to a number of people. I've been wondering about a trip to the US because you can save another 20% there too if you come back with a reconditioned battery. But the I just think you're doing such a wonderful job. It's great. And I think we've got a lot to learn in terms of the community organizing, how you've managed that, how you've brought the people together, you've got consensus. We need more leaders like that. Thank you.
Thanks. Jerry, go ahead.
Yes, as far as the electric vehicles, have you been in contact at all with Viva, Vancouver Electric Vehicle Association? They're sort of the preeminent group when it comes to electric vehicles, and they might have ways of connecting you to batteries or other systems. So worthwhile checking in with them.
And also, Jerry, while you're there, what's the name of that company in Victoria that sells second-hand electric vehicles? Motorize, is it?
That's Motorize, Guy,
yeah.
That's right.
Motorizer, yeah. So when people think, oh, electric vehicles cost $55,000, you go to the Motorize website, maybe someone can dig it up and put it in the chat, and they're much cheaper. And also, I've heard one of the skeptics say, oh, when the electric battery is dead, you have to put it in the garbage. But actually, when a car electric battery is not functional, it has still got ability to store energy for homes. So, which is what Doug was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about what do they do with the solar panels too after they're, disposed. But they do have new technology and ways of collecting about, I think it was 97% of the copper or whatever is in there, silver, I think. And
So Jerry mentioned Viva, the Vancouver Electrical Vehicle Association. I'm sure if you approach them, and you could get everyone together in the hall for an evening talk about solar and electric vehicles, they'd be very happy to come out and just, do that thing and get people inspired. Because one of the things, if you're working and you have a truck, the electric trucks have got all those electric tool plugins. So you can work immediately off your truck and, straight onto the building site. Yeah.
And another part of our solar is when I began, it was net metering.
Yes.
It changed to self-generation. So with that self-generation application, it offered 10,000 for each building in our community.
Yeah.
So we had on the community center, we have 2 meters. So that allowed us to get funding for both sides of the roof. So the
How big is your community hall? How many people does it hold? I got an idea in my mind, right?
I guess maybe 200.
Okay. So if you were to create, maybe you've done it already, a Sqwa Solar Day, right?
Yeah,
It's a celebration day, and
yeah.
invite people from the nearby community to come in and get some speakers on solar and electric vehicles, and you explain what you're doing and celebrate what you're doing and get other people inspired so that, hey, don't hide your light under a solar bushel.
Oh yeah. We do. It is very exciting, and like I say, a lot of people see the CBC video, and they see the on Instagram, they see the Just Power
Yeah.
video, and that's like they're like just amazed, I guess, and then they're like the people recognize me. I go to the Generate and First Nations Energy Summit every year for the
Right.
last 3 years, and
Cool. Cool.
gathered a lot of information, a lot of like vital information that
Yeah.
helps me to keep on the path that
Well,
that
it's
I'm
a
on.
very fast moving technology.
Mhm.
There's innovations and new updates and stuff happening all the time, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyone else have questions? I see Ted Sheldon there. I'm sure Ted's sitting on questions about all this. You're so knowledgeable about this whole thing, Ted.
Oh, not knowledgeable, and I sincerely apologize. Not only late to the party here, folks, but just funny getting my webcam going.
Mhm.
And I'm so sorry I missed the presentation. Hope maybe there'll be a recording of it.
It's being recorded. Yeah, no
I
worries.
heard I heard a couple of comments. Yes, motorized was right, Guy, out in Sydney in the
That's right.
peninsula. Also, I'm not too sure. You made reference to the Vancouver Association.
Yeah.
Glenn Gary is the president of the Vancouver Island EV Association, and
So,
he's out of Victoria here.
well, we're talking Chilliwack, so it's the
Oh, Chilliwack, sorry.
Vancouver Electric Vehicle Association. Yeah.
Right, and then there was a reference I think I heard about so self-generation. Absolutely, there was $5,000. I took advantage of the $5,000 for the rebate, and then there was a $10,000 no interest rate loan. I think 5,000 was from BC
Yeah.
Hydro, and the 10,000 no interest loan was from the feds.
John, go ahead. Thanks, Ted.
I didn't put my hand up.
Oh,
Hey, but while we're here,
oh, you
Slade,
got you're over there. So have you got a question or
Slade, do you know Larry Commodore?
Yeah,
and
If you think
yeah,
of
I
it,
guess.
would you say hi?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
I see a lot of pictures that he takes because I go to the canoe races every weekend, and so he has must have a nice camera because he
yeah,
provides a lot of nice pictures for especially if you're like racing all day, you don't want to run to places and take
yeah.
pictures, especially if you're on a canoe, you're not going to be able to take a picture. So
So Slade, have you invited your MLA and your MP to come and see what you're doing?
um I did have some association with the Fraser Valley Regional District.
Yeah, I'm talking provincially, your provincial MLA and your provincial MP, because
No,
from our perspective in the West Coast Climate Action Network, we're getting the message that, oh, no one cares about climate anymore. There are other more important things. And you've got a great showcase model when you could invite your MLA to come and visit, meet the chief and council, and show what you're doing. I think it'd be very hard for them to say no if they got an invitation from you, right?
yeah, that would be great.
And then
That would be great.
if you were ever in Victoria later, they could actually invite you to come to the legislature and introduce you to the floor of the legislature to explain what you're doing to the other MLAs.
Yeah.
So we're all about getting awareness among our politicians and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I think like I said, like as soon as the the government governance in Canada or BC changes over, they their ideals are different. So they don't have that much concern over um um climate adaptation and
Yeah, and
change.
we have certain MLAs and MPs who say, "Oh, it's no big thing. It's all, it's invented. It's not true." It's like, Tara, you have a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wanting to ask you, Slade, have the other nations, the Tsleil-Waututh and the Musqueam and the lower mainland nations reached out to, you know, replicate what you're doing? Because I know the Tsleil-Waututh has had some solar installation in one of their community centers on
Yeah.
Haitian land, but I was just wondering if the other nations had reached out to you.
I think because a lot of them they are self-sufficient. They're actually producing their own, um, like they have businesses, and I think that's where we lack is we don't have that self-sufficiency. We depend on Indigenous Service Canada and other funding to get to where we want to be. And
But that doesn't stop them being inspired to do what you're
yeah,
doing because they've all got roofs. Everyone's got a
yeah,
roof on their house.
yeah. And it's not like just like you guys found us. I mean, other people find us too. And
Cool.
so like it's less, I guess they're not like we're not really advertising, or we don't want to be like, like
We're doing it for you.
bragging and stuff, but we want it to be known, like I said in the video, that
Yeah,
we want to be at the forefront of,
yeah.
at least within our nation, Stalo Nation, which is consisted of about nearly 30 communities.
Yeah. Let's go to Jeanette and then we'll come back to that.
My question actually follows on from Tara's, but is specifically with respect to Gulf Islands and the Saanich Peninsula. The Wasanich Nation there, they have their amazing leadership school and a lot of things going on in the community. And it seems to me that that might be a really good link because they also have, like on Maine, we have a strong Truth and Reconciliation group that does a lot of work with the Wasanich Nation. And on Maine, we also have someone that I think when I first went there in 2007 already had his own electric vehicle and a plug outside the community center that said electric vehicles plug in.
Yeah.
But the Wasanic, that would be really, really good to have something with them, and I think there would be some interest on me.
Tell you what, Slade, I'll send an email to you and to Adam Olson, who's one of the leaders with the Rosantic people. Maybe good connection there. Jerry, go ahead. Thanks, Jeanette.
Yes. One of the things that I do is I organize a community festival here in Maple Ridge, and its focus is all about building resilient community, of course, and our start was all around finding climate solutions. And we've been doing this festival now for 15 years. And that's how my association with Viva came about. But we're always looking for new exhibitors that have a strong message that they want to share. Now we are in, of course, Katzie First Nation and Kwantlen First Nation area, but I think it's also a message that should be spread further afield. And if you are interested, we would love to have you at Getty Fest this year.
Slade, do you want to put your email in the chat so that Jerry can be in touch with you? And while you're doing that, well, I won't ask my question while you're doing that, or else you'll give you a chance to do that first, right? And then other people can be in touch as well.
Maybe just while there's a moment, I'd congratulate Jerry and Maple Ridge. You take me right back to the first of 4 smart growth on the ground communities, Jerry, and that was Maple Ridge. I can't remember how many years ago it was, but it was a concentrated effort, and we got mayor and council involved and approved it, etc. So good for you guys.
So we got 5 minutes left. I was wondering, Slade, the relationship of Sqwa to the whole Stolo Nation. You said there are 30 other communities within the Stolo Nation.
Yeah.
Is Sqwa then part of a collective governance within Stolo as well? How does it work?
Well, their Chilliwack was actually named after the Halkomelem word Chilhwayak. So, but Chilhwayak is mainly, if you've been to Chilliwack, is closer to the south side of the highway.
Yeah.
So after I think about maybe a kilometer from the highway is Palaut territory. So Chilhwayak, Palaut,
Yeah.
Chamath, and Tahit are all Stalo tribes.
Right.
So we are Palaut territory.
Okay. Cool.
Then and so like I said, there's like 30 in it, and it reaches from sort of towards Yale area, Yale the canyon
And do
to about
other
Langley.
do the other communities know what you're doing? Have they come to see?
Seabird actually has a lot going on right now, and I actually hoped that I could have visited Burrard.
Hmm.
So, he was just talking about it, or she was just talking about that.
Yeah.
And there's another one in Victoria, and the name is escaping me. And they were actually touring their solars. They have the largest at that time. I
Well,
don't
that would be
know.
the Suk First Nation or Sauk.
Souk,
Yeah.
yes, I want to
Yes.
visit their facility. And
Yeah.
Seabird is the next up and coming. Um, they
Yeah.
have quite a few members and
Cool.
quite a few homes. I don't know who's working on their projects. Um,
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
and I guess another thing before we finish is, our consultant thought it was best. It's part of their practice to when once you get the funding and you make the agreement with
Yeah.
the contractor, that we created a CCDC 14. So this is just an agreement amongst both that we fill our obligations
Yeah.
with the work.
Cool. So we're getting to the end. Catherine, I want to do a wrap up, but Catherine, do you want to share the things about WeCan in the chat first, and just
Roger that. There's also a question in the chat from Judith wanting to know if Seabird FN is spelled Seabird.
yes, it is Seabird.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Um, so Catherine, do you want to talk through what you're putting in the chat?
Sure. I wanted to let folks know a couple of things. We do these lunch and learn events regularly, and you'll find out about them if you subscribe to our website or to our newsletter that comes out every week. And we put the link in there for the newsletter if you haven't already subscribed. I imagine many of you are probably already subscribers. I've also put in a link to our website. There's much more information on there, as well as the recordings of prior lunch and learn sessions. You can find them on that website. And WeCan is almost entirely run by volunteer labor. We have a 1/4 time network administrator. The rest of everything that we do is done by volunteers. We always appreciate donations to support our work. Any amount is welcome, and I put the link in there to our donations page. If anybody feels able to contribute, we'd be most grateful.
Cool. So what I want to do in closing, I'm going to go to full screen, which means removing our spotlights. Let's go to, what do we do to go to full screen? Catherine, can you do that? The gallery view so we can see everyone.
Yeah, there should be a thing at
Where's the gallery
the
button?
at
There
the
we go.
top of the screen, there should be a little, yeah.
And if folks want to open up their cameras so that Slade can see everyone. So let's all come here, right? And now this is where we practice the little WeCan ritual we have. We say thank you to Slade. And one way we can do it is by holding hands in a great big circle. So if you put your hands up like that and move your hands so it's covering half of the next person. You too, Slade. There you go. Move your hands over a bit. Now we are holding hands with people. We're all holding hands together and celebrating you. Because I've been in this game a long time and everything happens because of pioneers, individual people who say, I'm going to make this happen. Nothing happens by people just watching other people. It's people like you who are making the difference. So thank you, Slade. Thank you.
Thank you.